Okay, buddy boy, here it is. You hide my clothes, I put on everything you own.
Oh my god, that is so not the opposite of stealing somebody's underwear!
Look at me, I'm Chandler. Could I be wearing any more clothes? Good thing I'm going commando.
Oh!
Gee, I tell you, it's getting real hot in here. Better not do any lunges. Hey Chandler, you want to take me on in a duel? Let's do it. Let's play Big Brother Cheesecake 9, Friends Time!
Job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the way. When it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you when the rain starts to pour. I'll be there for you like I've been there before. I'll be there for you.
I know!
'Cause you're there for me too.
Hello, I'm Andrew Shefsig Moonves. Welcome to the season premiere of Big Brother Cheesecake 9, Friends Time. In just moments, 5 former pre-jurors will face off against 11 new house guests in a 31-day grueling power struggle for a $900 cash prize. The runner-up wins $100, while everybody else gets nothing, except this pen, which Sting gave to Phoebe. Ross can! Ross can! Give me the tickets! Ross can! Give me the tickets! For those of you who don't know how Big Brother Cheesecake works, it's very simple. Each week there is a head of household competition where the winner is the head of household and must choose to nominate 2 of their fellow house guests for eviction. There's then a golden power veto competition, allegedly, where the winner of the golden power veto can choose to use it to save one of the 2 nominees from the chopping block, forcing the head of household to name a replacement nominee, or leave the nominations as is. Then the remainder of the house will then vote to evict one of the 2 nominees permanently from the game. Now, if you're watching this from the future, you're probably wondering, what the hell is this? Why is this being uploaded again? Well, it's Boxing Day, December 26, 2023, and I want to explain kind of what happened at the beginning of Season 9, but I also want to fill in the gaps as well for those of you who are watching maybe from Season 1 all the way through, or who are just not familiar with Season 9, you missed it. So this is kind of a recap of the first 5 weeks of the game. So, to make a long story short, every season prior to the start of Big Brother Cheesecake, there was some nerves and anxiety with how much stress and time and work went into each season. During COVID, it wasn't so bad because we were in a 2-year lockdown in Canada, and so even though the seasons got longer, the episodes got longer, and it became more and more work, it was COVID, it didn't matter. And when COVID ended and I started the job that I'm currently in, it became a real project to keep up Big Brother Cheesecake. And prior to the start of Season 9, I had a complete mental health breakdown. I had anxiety up to 10, could not sleep the night before the premiere at all, and I almost canceled the season. And I hadn't had severe anxiety like that in 2 years, which for me is a lot, because my life has been pretty good overall, luckily, knock on wood. So I had severe anxiety, and I almost canceled the season. Not sure if it would have been canceled or postponed, but either way, I almost canceled the season. I told everyone, because we were supposed to start in the morning, as we always do, as you alumni know, and I told everyone, we're going to actually start at 5 p.m., not at 9 a.m. or whatever it was, so just stand by for the day. And I took the day at work, which was thankfully a very quiet day, to really think it over, and everybody paid approximately $45-ish to play. They put in a lot of money, a lot of time and effort to get all their registration in. Some people had been waiting multiple seasons to play. And there were 5 returning former pre-jurors who were waiting for the chance for redemption. And I couldn't just cancel the season on them. So I'm like, I got to do something. I can't do the whole 85 days again. It's just too much for me. So the original idea, fun fact, was it was just going to be 15 days. You vote one person off a day. And I thought, well, that's really short. What about a month? So that's when I came up with, in the bathroom, while having raging diarrhea because it was one of those days, I came up with the 30-day plan. One house guest gets evicted every other day, and we're going to go to the classic Big Brother US Season 2 rules of there is no golden power veto. Somebody wins head of household, and they nominate 2 people for eviction, and those are the final nominees. Before we get into that part, what some of you don't know is that Extra Whip and I, Michael, Corey, Rhonda, and Joanne, we actually filmed the draft episode prior to this whole mental breakdown, so they already they did their draft picks in advance. That episode will never air because we talked a lot about the twists that were supposed to be in Season 9. Speaking of those twists, two twists that were supposed to happen in Season 9 that didn't, for those of you wondering, and this is actually kind of fun looking back. There was one twist that was called the Gladys twist, where you did not want to hold that picture of Gladys, coming out of the frame that Rachel and Monica fought over. She's mine! She's mine! Whoever doesn't get Gladys gets Gladys. I want Gladys! She's mine! One of you was going to be randomly selected at the start of the season to hold Gladys. And fun fact, that person who was randomly selected was Andrew. And the goal was to get rid of Gladys by either coming off the block, by any means necessary, be it the veto or surviving the vote, or winning a competition of any kind. Then you could anonymously transfer Gladys to another house guest on a day that was already decided prior to the start of the season. I believe it was supposed to be at the start of week 8, I believe. Gladys would explode, and whoever was holding Gladys would receive an instant penalty nomination where they were instantly on the block pre-veto. But that twist got scrapped. The other twist that got scrapped, you were supposed to play this game, this was Friends themed, you were supposed to play this game in pairs. You were going to win head of household as pairs, although one person would be the official head of household. That person would nominate a pair. If the veto was used, a pair would come off and another pair would go on. And just kind of like, ironically, kind of like Ascendance Live Season 4, when one house guest is evicted, they become a widow. They're safe the following week, fast forward. And when the next widow comes from the following week, they now get married and become a new pair. So fun fact, the teams were, in case you want to, in case you're one of those conspiracy theorists, playing the what if game, would have been Casey and Jason, Kendra and Caleb, Connor and Sam. That would have been a tough duo. They may have won. Andrew and Roberto, Brooke and Missy, Thomas and Will, Joe and Bonnie, and Lynn and Stephanie. Now it's funny. Connor and Sam went deep into the season. Stephanie won. Stephanie was paired with Lynn. And if Lynn had been evicted first, like she was, as you're about to find out, I think Stephanie could have won even with this twist, even with the full version. But we'll never know. So I told everybody that you would each have 1,000 ruby vetoes that you can use in a silent auction to become head of household. Whoever had the highest bid, and everybody's bid was deducted from their bank, whoever had the highest bid, and you can bequeath the ruby vetoes when you're evicted, and you can transfer ruby vetoes. Whoever had the highest bid would become the head of household. They would have to instantly, within the next hour, nominate 2 people for eviction, and then the following day was a deliberation where somebody would be evicted on the second day of the week. Alumni and fans liked it because it was the classic Big Brother US Season 2, and Roberto actually picked up on that right away. But the house guests hated it because they really wanted a golden power veto, a chance to save themselves. And I get that because that has been a part of the game since 2002. But that was not the case for the early part of the game. Now, if you keep watching the season, I can't remember which episode it is. Let me actually find it for you right now. I believe it's episode 3. So if you're watching this from beginning to end, you're currently watching episode 1. Episode 3 is the temptation competition. So from episode 3 on, the golden power veto was reintroduced through some method. There was either the classic golden veto, there was a veto over multiple weeks, there was a topaz veto. There was a different style of veto every week, but from episode 3 on, the golden power veto came back. But for the first half of the game, there was no golden power veto. Okay, so the first head of household, who had a pretty high bid. I forgot what it was. I think it was like 300 or 400 or something, was Andrew. And ironically, his twin brother Alex was the first head of household in season 8. Andrew nominated Lynn and Connor for eviction. Lynn because she was just very, very, very super active, like too active, talking to everybody right away. And then Connor was not active at all, and I felt really, really bad because Connor told me in advance that he was not going to be present the first day because he was busy. Under the old Big Brother Cheesecake rules, oh well, who cares? There's 85 days you miss the first day, you can recover easily. But Andrew had to make nominations that night, right away. And so that's why he picked Connor, because he was kind of inactive. I felt really bad. The vote was really close. It was our first ever week 1 tie. We had a 7-7 vote. 7 votes against Connor, 7 votes against Lynn. Under the new Ken Jennings effect, well, new in season 8, Andrew does not get to break the tie. There's a 1-hour revote where anybody can change their vote, and if not, we go to rocks. And the fun fact, too, about this vote was that the majority of the votes were against Connor early on in the day. The Lynn votes came in at the very end when Jason flipped the vote against Lynn and even flipped the alumni vote, which was really against Connor early in the day, to Lynn. That's how the 7-7 tie came about. So Connor was almost evicted as it is. And then there is a difference of like 10 seconds. Brooke changes her vote from Connor to Lynn, and like 10 to 15 seconds later, Missy changes her vote from Lynn to Connor. But because Brooke did it first, Lynn became evicted 8-6. Connor, he knows this. He came probably as close as you can possibly get to being evicted without actually being evicted. I mean, like, seriously, especially in Cheesecake. Like, it's just wow for Connor. It is what it is. I felt really bad for Lynn. You know, I had high hopes for her. She, was a pre-juror in season 4, but unfortunately, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. She just talked way too much, too fast. And then she kind of gave up once she was nominated. So she talked way too much day 1, and then she went to saying nothing day 2. And I'm like, ooh. But anyway, so that was week 1. Week 2, now we're on day 3. HOH, hold on. Woo, excuse me. Okay. Wow. Okay. Clearly I need some Ricola or some cough drops. Okay. Or some tea. Ooh, I love a good tea bag. Week 2, the head of household was Thomas. He pooled some money. He got some allies to give him some money. There was a big alliance at that point. Forgot what it was called, but there was like 8 people in it. That alliance was eventually leaked, which of course leaked by Brooke, pinned on Jason, as you're going to see in the coming rounds. This was also the round where the all-girls alliance originated from, because Thomas was playing Backyard Big Brother at the same time as Big Brother Cheesecake, the only person to do that. So he's playing an LRG at the same time as an org. I'm at the LRG as a viewer or alumni, and Thomas comes up to me and says, I think it was Brooke. I want to make sure I get the right person. I think it was Brooke. It's been such a long time now, but no other names are ringing a bell, and Brooke makes sense. Brooke, no offense if you're watching, Brooke did not play well in season 9. Way too messy. She played great in 6, great in 7. 8, she just had some bad luck, but this 9, she was messy. Thomas said that Brooke told him there was an all-girls alliance and that he needs to watch out. That's where it started. It wouldn't come really into play until rounds that you're going to see later on. But anyway, Thomas nominated Kendra and Joe for eviction. I, at the time that this happened, thought Kendra was done. I thought there's no way. She's loud, she's vocal, she's a pre-juror. Granted, so is Joe, but Joe is quiet enough, he'll snake his way through. As long as Joe tries somewhat, Kendra's done. But Joe does what he always does, which is nothing. Joe was just invisible, Kendra campaign, and I was, not going to lie, pleasantly surprised that in I think it's an 8-2 vote, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8-4 vote, Joe was evicted. And Thomas, his head of household, if you're watching, it got really, really messy. Once you nominate, there's no golden power veto. So once you nominate 2 people, Kendra and Joe, and you don't even have a tiebreaker vote, Thomas, you should have done this. Nothing. Just do nothing. You have no more power for the week. For the week. Yes, you can play in the next HOH, but especially with it being an auction every week, you're not likely to win 2 in a row. So just zip it. You've done your job. You've nominated 2 people. You're safe. You're not voting. Just shut up. But Thomas is at the LRG the second day, and he's literally on his phone trying to convince people to vote a certain way. I forgot which way he wanted to go. More so than he's playing the LRG, which is what he should be focused on because he's totally safe in the org. But I love Thomas. So it is what it is. So Joe was evicted 8-4. Week 3, head of household was Brooke. She, at this point, had a lot of allies because she was in that big 8-person alliance. I don't know if her target was Jason right away, but she pinned the leak of that alliance on Jason. She nominated Jason and Sam. Sam at this point was still very popular. Sam came in with a lot of allies from previous orgs, and that always helps you early on. So this vote was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11-1 against Jason. The only vote that Jason had was the public vote, which Jason got all of his org friends to vote for him to keep him, which is good. He avoided a unanimous vote. Now, the part that I'm so sad that everybody missed was that night on the Zoom. Jason is on, and it's already been dramatic all day. This season was an incredibly dramatic season, one of the most, actually arguably the most dramatic. It's been a dramatic day. I say, does anybody have anything they'd like to say? Jason goes to unmute, and Kendra goes, oh God, he's going to unmute. Jason just starts yelling and tearing the shit out of Kendra and Brooke. And of course, Kendra and Brooke never back down from a fight. They go at it. It was by far the biggest blow-up fight ever. It was like Keisha's 30th birthday in Big Brother US 10, but in an org platform. It was, if you were there, I can't even describe it. If you were there, you lived that sensational amazingness. I forgot to hit record. I felt so bad because, yes, at the time there were no episodes, but I would have loved to have I should have hit record as soon as the fighting started just to keep it because I could have aired it right now as like a bonus scene, but stupid me, I didn't hit record. Oh well. So Jason was evicted. Week 4. Sam is head of household. And at this point, the winning bids keep going really, really high. And Stephanie has noticed this now because the bids are like almost 2,000. You have to pool money together to get that. So that's the clue that there's a big alliance because the number that head of household is being sold for is huge. So people clearly are in an alliance. Sam nominates Caleb and Brooke for eviction. This was a pretty quiet round because after that big blow-up fight and after Brooke's chaotic HOH, really, this season, Andrew was the first head of household. Andrew had an easy, for week 1, an easy HOH. Every HOH thereafter had a chaotic, crappy time, whether they recovered or not. It was just drama. But anyway, so Sam nominated Caleb and Brooke, and this ended up turning into an easy vote for everyone. Brooke was evicted 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-2, with Roberto and Kendra, I guess, giving sympathy votes because everybody knew going into, even Brooke knew that she was going. So Brooke became the 4th person evicted. Now, week 5. So this is the week. Episode 2 starts with the end of this week, so I won't say all of it, but Stephanie won head of household. She nominated Will and Thomas for eviction. Neither one was very active. Even Thomas, he had been super active. I think he realized the writing was on the wall, and so Thomas also became inactive. Will was inactive the whole season, so this was another relatively easy vote, but to get the results of whether Thomas or Will was evicted, you're going to have to watch the next episode. So, now all the gaps have been filled in as to what happened at the beginning of Season 9. So, with that said, Thomas or Will, who will be evicted? Find out in Episode 2. I'm Andrew Shevchik Moonves. Take care, and remember, if you are watching this from the future and you are going to play in Big Brother Cheesecake 10 Stars Awaken, all you have to do is send me a message of whose dick pic you would like to see, and I'll give you an advantage in Season 10. The first 3 people to do it get that advantage. Good night.